Good evening. I'm choir senior Marilee Olson. Thank you for attending our concert. A special note that the order of selections is different than what we originally listed in the program. We open with an original song by the a cappella group Pentatonics from their second Christmas album, That's Christmas to Me. I'm proud to introduce the Lowellville High School Choir.
Shining all on me, I see the presents underneath the good old Christmas tree, and I'll wait a night till Santa comes to wake me from my dreams. Oh, why? 'Cause that's Christmas to me.
Hello, I'm choir freshman Hedessa Rivera. We continue our program with We Need a Little Christmas. This selection was featured in the Broadway musical, Maine. It was first performed by Angela Lansbury in 1966.
Need a little
Hello, I'm choir senior Logan Agee. White Winter Hymnal was the first single from Fleet Fox's 2008 debut album. It was recently covered by the a cappella group Pentatonics. The lyrics that aren't about holidays and their meanings can vary depending on the listener, with definite overtones of lost childhood innocence. We hope you enjoy White Winter Hymnal.
Well, good evening. I was going through my pre-concert routine, and it dawned on me, you know, we just kind of came back to school this fall, and everything's kind of back to normal pretty much, and we're going about our routines. And I never thought until today that this evening is a great cause for celebration, and Ms. Skepsky already kind of alluded to it. But the high school choir hasn't done a concert in 2 years, which is huge. that we were able to do this tonight. So I feel like we should have had like food and drinks, and it should have been way more party-like, and I regretted that. As I'm getting ready, I'm like, oh, this should have been a huge celebration. Because kids are busy, and 2 years is a long time, and they could have done a lot of things to occupy that time instead of this. So I really appreciate them keeping this going. During the pandemic, across the country, vocal music, choir programs probably suffered more than anything else because you really couldn't sing together. So it was a challenge keeping it going. So this is such a great evening that we can do this. The last time we performed was at the spaghetti dinner, and there were 6 kids that sang in the band room. This was in, I think, 2020, like 2 weeks before everything shut down. And before that, our Christmas concert we just sang it was like a rebuilding year. We sang a bunch of unison carols with some hopes for the spring, and we never got to do that. So here we are 2 years later. And I'm so proud of these kids for sticking through it. And I have to say, my choir kids during remote learning, man, they were probably my classes with the best attendance, and where I could see their faces most of the time. So my choir classes weren't like ceilings, and I mean, they were small groups, so they really had to, because I asked them a lot of questions, they had to be turned on, but I really appreciated seeing their faces every time we logged in. And they hung in there, and we did music theory, and I'm sure those of you know, like we have our piano hooked up, and I'm playing, and you probably heard me singing throughout your houses. And they may or may not have been singing with me, but I'm really proud of them, and I'm grateful that they stuck with it. And the fact that we were able to do some 3-part singing tonight is awesome, and I'm really excited about where this is going to go. So I want to give a shout out to the choir kids, so congratulations. Because it's really easy for stuff like this to go away, especially in times like this. So thank you all for supporting it. Middle school choir, you are awesome. Such great sounds coming from that group. So we're excited to see where this takes us, so stay tuned. A few other thank yous. I'd like to thank Mr. Schreiner for all his help with the sound and the lights. During our dress rehearsal, I'm super picky, so every 30 seconds it was like higher, lower, more this, less this. And Mr. Schreiner smiled and just humored me, but I'm really pleased with the results, so thank you, Mr. Schreiner. I'd like to thank our percussion help, John Chelleris and Eliza Primus, so thank you for stepping out. And I'd like to thank our accompanist, Missy Amendola. I always tell the kids, Missy, if you don't know Missy is a respiratory therapist full-time. That's her full-time gig. But she teaches piano, and she accompanies us here at Lowellville, which is great. But she's a great example of how you can have a different career and still keep music in your life. So she talk about it doesn't get more frontline than a respiratory therapist during the pandemic. So Missy, we're not only grateful for your work with us, it's great to be doing this again for your work. How about a hand for our soloist? She introduced herself, Marilee Olson, at the very beginning of the program. Great talent. It's finally, and I did not mention this, and I should have mentioned it sooner, but I was very fortunate to have a student teacher this semester, and you got to see some of his work. Mr. John Martin went to high school at, yeah, they love him, Mr. Martin. Mr. Martin went to Western Reserve High School, and then he was a student at Kent State University, so he's the first student teacher we've had from Kent. And coming back full-time, it was great to have another set of hands, and he did a remarkable job, and I know he's going to find a job really quickly and be outstanding with what he does. So thank you very much, Mr. Martin. How about another hand? All right, he has 2 more weeks. Right, Mr. Martin, 2.5. But he was counting, right? You're going to stay longer, I hope. Okay, so anyway, you did not come here to listen to me talk. But thank you, parents and friends and families, for all of your support. So finally, we're going to close our program with a song about food and dessert. And we wish you a Merry Christmas. Everyone sings about figgy pudding, but no one, I think, really knows what it is. So The ingredients are in this song, so we hope you enjoy figgy pudding. Thank you for coming out this evening.
Figgy pudding?
Some figgy pudding.
Oh, bring us some figgy pudding and a cup of good cheer. Oh, bring us some figgy pudding, figgy pudding, figgy pudding. Oh, bring us some figgy pudding and a cup of good cheer. We won't go till we get some. Mix dry dates and chocolate and butter with fizz. Add flour and sugar and baking soda with eggs. Good tidings we bring to you and your king. Let's all have a taste of pudding, figgy pudding right here. Oh, bring us some figgy pudding, figgy pudding, figgy pudding. Oh, bring us some figgy pudding and a cup of good cheer. We won't go till we get some. We won't go till we get some figgy pudding and a cup of good cheer. Please take us figgy pudding, figgy pudding, figgy pudding. We make us a figgy pudding and a cup of good cheer. Please take us figgy pudding, figgy pudding, figgy pudding.
Thank you all very much. Have a nice holiday.